What is going on? What is Gavin Newsom doing? Gavin Newsom just started a podcast that's now on YouTube. His first three guests are racists. All of them are racists. Two of them could arguably be referred to as Nazis. Two of them actively participated in a scheme to end democracy in America. They are anti-democratic white supremacists. Charlie Kirk is one, the first guest. Apparently, episode 4 is Steve Bannon, even though I can't find an episode 3. Curious. And then Michael Savage, a has-been radio guy whose son started some energy drink or something, like Monster Energy or one of those. Anyway, there are hundreds of conservatives. If this is what he wants, I don't think this is the way forward. I don't think in this moment that common ground finding, if this is what he thinks he's doing, is what needs to be done. There are thousands of people who have been impacted by Donald Trump, the chaos and corruption of this administration that Gavin Newsom could talk to communicate the way forward. Instead, he's chosen to talk to Nazis. And the worst of the worst, in fact. He's chosen to talk to Charlie Kirk, who gets afraid when he sees that the pilot is a black lady, and Steve Bannon, and we all know about Steve Bannon, a lying, charlatan, grifting, thieving, fraudster, and played a fulsome role in attempting to end democracy in the United States, attempting to overthrow the United States government. He's an insurrectionist through and through, and Gavin Newsom finds utility in talking to him. And I'm not going to play the whole thing at all. In fact, I'm going to play about a minute and a half, minute 12 or something, I think the clip is. I need to start writing down how long the clips are here. But this is how they signed off. I watched almost all of this entire thing. Downloaded it so I could show you this part. And this is Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, someone who I've had some respect for. He's done with me. I would suggest you, if you've ever supported him, that you'd really question any future support of Gavin Newsom. Because what he's doing here, he wants to run for president, and he wants to do what I think was the chief mistake of Kamala Harris again, which is appeal to Republicans. Oh, yeah, look at all these Republicans who are going to take up primetime speaking slots at the Democratic National Convention. I'm going to tour with Liz Cheney and talk proudly about how Dick Cheney, the war criminal, endorsed and voted for. What are they doing? Appeal to Democrats, appeal to decent Americans. Republicans aren't going to vote for Democrats. Not the ones you're trying to reach. If you're reaching out to Steve fucking Bannon, you're making a mistake, Gavin Newsom. In the first one, he came out against trans people. I agree with you, Charlie Kirk. I agree with you, anti-Semitic Charlie Kirk and anti-trans bigot. I agree with you about this. There needs to be fundamental fairness. We're talking about 5 people in the entire country. And he's bending himself into knots to try to find things to agree with Charlie fucking Kirk about. And if you think it couldn't get worse, it did. He sat down with Steve fucking Bannon. Anyway, here's how it ended. Gavin Newsom tripping all over him. Oh, I just want to thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate you so much. Thanks for this conversation. It was so great. Just heaping effusive praise upon a man who tried to overthrow the government of the United States and end democracy in the course of that overthrow, of that insurrection, of that failed coup. And now, not a bad word to say about Donald Trump, even during this podcast. Watch this.
But that's another conversation.
Well, for another day.
And that's not fanaticism. That's called pragmatism.
Eventually, you work with Ro Khanna and Fetterman, you'll become more of a populist nationalist, and then you'll probably have a bright future.
Hey, Steve, I really enjoy this conversation. I think it's incredibly valuable, and I appreciate the spirit to which we were able to engage, and I hope we can continue the conversation, and I hope we get out of this week without any further disruptions. It's been a hell of a beginning of administration, and I appreciate your advocacy. I also appreciate that you call balls and strikes. as it relates to what you're seeing with the administration.
I also think that for your audience, there's a saying that there are decades in which nothing happens and there are weeks in which decades happen. We're living in that time right now. So whatever happens this week, next week, it's going to be quite intense. We have an economy to turn around geostrategically. The beginning of the kinetic part of the Third World War has got to be stopped. So we're living history every day. And I'm just honored you had me on here, and we were able to conduct this in some level of decency.
I appreciate it, Steve. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Governor. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
When Steve Bannon appreciates you, you got a problem. And that goes for Gavin Newsom. That goes for previous guest on this show, Ro Khanna. What the fuck are you doing, brother? That Steve Bannon is heaping praise on you along with the likes of John Fetterman. This isn't the way forward for the Democratic Party. This is not the way forward for the United States of America. This will lead to the destruction of our republic, playing games with these fucking fascists. And I hope enough Democrats are seeing what this is, seeing right through this game, this appeal to the middle bullshit. This is surrender, is what this is. You don't need to sit down with Steve Bannon to get the perspective of a conservative. You sit down with Steve Bannon to break bread with a racist and a white supremacist and a supporter of Donald Trump, America's Hitler, as his vice president once said. We need an explanation from Gavin Newsom, who's now, by the way, some of these episodes have like 800,000 views because the PAC behind Gavin Newsom is running these as ads to try to boost views, which leads me to believe they're not doing real well because Democrats are paying attention, because they are outraged by this glad handing with fascists. If you want to be the president of the United States of America, act like a leader, Gavin Newsom, my former governor, someone I've spoken highly of, despite your many failings as a communicator. You are a good communicator. You could sit down with people who have been fired by Donald Trump, whose lives and businesses have been destroyed by Donald Trump, whose family members have died because of lack of access to health care based on the Republican Party's stated objectives to end abortion access in this country. You could do that. Instead, you chose to sit down with Steve motherfucking Bannon. You are a disgrace. And you've lost any positive rhetoric from me, any support from me. Never again. I would love to know where I'm wrong. And if part of your criticism of what everything I've just said is, well, look, we're going to have to sit down with the other side at some time, you're not listening to what I'm saying. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of conservatives out there who don't act like these people, who haven't done what these people do. Trump is not the only version of conservatism in the country. These people have acted corruptly, criminally. Steve Bannon got a pardon from the president for corruption. Comment below. You can call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me as always, daily@dollemore.com. If you want to support the show, you can click the join button below this video and see what's involved to become a channel member. For $1.99, you can do just that, support this work. You can also go to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. I also have a podcast. It's not this is Gavin Newsom. It's called I Doubt It. And we would love to have you there. Me and Brittany Page host it. It's a good time. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore, and I will see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.